Welcome everyone. In today's video, I just wanted to go through some of the most important news items from the Ethereum Layer 2 ecosystem. And as per usual, you can follow me at InfiniteBid1 on Twitter if you want to stay up to date. And so the first news item I wanted to cover here is the Starknet Hackathon, which is approaching its starting line. And this is quite interesting because we're bound to see a lot more new projects coming out and actually starting to develop on Starknet. And when you have these hackathons, it's really an incentive for builders to come over and start learning QiDAO. I'm super excited about the future of Starknet as it's, one of the end games for Ethereum. Optimistic rollups are all well and good, but we know that eventually everything will move over to ZK rollups. And so some of the winners that you see in the Starknet Hackathon are going to be titans of the industry in the future. So this is something to definitely just keep an eye on. Now, the next piece of news I wanted to talk about concerns MakerDAO. So MakerDAO is creating instant liquidity on Starknet. So no more third-party bridges, and let's just get into this. So this is a piece by the Bankless DAO. And so the most important steps here is that they're going to build a simple bridge with a wallet interface, and that's coming on the April 28th. And then they're hoping to launch fast withdrawals by the end of Q2, as well as teleportation and minting directly on target layer 2s. And so that's minting DAI on basically every layer 2 that MakerDAO implements. And they're looking to go onto as many layer 2s as possible. And in the future, they want to port over MakerDAO onto Starkware as well. So if you want to see the finer details of how this is going to work, definitely go ahead and check out this article. Now, the next piece of news comes from Polygon. Now, you might have seen this on Twitter recently because it caused quite a stir. So Polygon is announcing Polygon Supernets, and I'll just play this video for you now so you can just listen to what they say about it.
Super compatible, super performing, super secure. Introducing Polygon Supernets. Polygon Supernets are Ethereum-based application-specific chains powered by the Polygon Edge framework. Supernets tap into the validator pools of the Polygon ecosystem to provide you with a higher degree of decentralization and security. Build your own Supernet, allowing for greater design space for decentralized applications and assets. 35-plus networks already building using Edge. dApps being developed across gaming, metaverse, and governance. Go for your own Polygon Supernet.
So basically what Polygon is trying to do here is that they're going to make subnets. So Supernets are going to be to Polygon as subnets are to Avalanche. And they're also launching a $100 million ecosystem support fund for this. So we'll probably see a lot more Supernets launching in the future. The amount of projects that I've seen that are actually launching on Polygon is just outstanding at this point. And I think a lot of them are probably going to pivot and try and launch their own Polygon Supernet. Like we've seen DeFi Kingdom launch their own subnet on Avalanche. QiDAO looking to launch their own subnet on Avalanche as well. We'll probably see a lot more games and other app-specific things start launching on Polygon too. So that's pretty cool. Now, the next piece of news comes from Velodrome Finance. If you're not familiar with Velodrome Finance, essentially what they are is a Solidly fork, but it's going to launch on Optimism soon. And so let's just get into the details more. So Velodrome is an AMM modeled on Solidly. So it's designed to be a public good that provides deep liquidity and low slippage. So it's powered by the VLO token and VNFTs. The Velodrome's model incentivizes liquidity by giving token lockers the ability to direct the protocol's emissions to their chosen pairs. Now, we've seen Solidly and basically how that launched. Basically that died maybe a week or two after it launched because Andre left, and then that just caused the mass dumping of the token. Now I'm typically against locking your tokens up for 4 years or doing anything like that, but we'll see how this works, right? But they've announced the initial distribution, so they're going to distribute it through an airdrop for users and protocols most likely to contribute to Velodrome. And because they've mentioned that they're doing an airdrop and also who it's going to, it's unlikely that, if you do any of this stuff now that you'll qualify. But basically, a large airdrop is going to the community. And so that will go for Weave holders, Optimism users, DeFi users, and liquidity providers. So we're probably going to see more airdrops like this in the future for people who actually go onto Optimism and start using the chain. So I think it starts to, you know, make more and more sense to actually go ahead and start using Optimism if you haven't already. Now, the next piece of news comes from Scroll. So Scroll, they've come out of stealth and they're announcing themselves as a ZK EVM based ZK rollup on Ethereum. So this is awesome. You know, the more rollup solutions that we have, the better, because they're going to compete with each other. What that ends up meaning is that the user experience is going to get better and better over time as well. And so we have quite a few people competing in the ZK rollup space: Starknet, ZK Sync, Scroll Tech, and Polygon has a bunch of different ZK rollup solutions as well. So it'll be exciting to see which one actually ends up being the best. Now, I wanted to talk about this article that came from Optimism. So this was released on the April 19th, and I've covered it on my channel before, but in case you haven't seen it, I just wanted to quickly talk about it. And so, you know, this is quite interesting. You know, they've saved users over $1.1 billion in gas fees, onboarded over 300k unique addresses, secured over $900 million in value. And that's all nice, but I wanted to scroll all the way down here to the most important part of this article. And so this is a new chapter. And so they're nearing the end of a chapter and the beginning of the next one. And that's going to be driven by community ownership and governance. Now, what does that sound like to you? To me, that sounds like a token. An Optimism token is on the way. And to everyone else, that sounds like an Optimism token as well. I think someone found on, like, you know, Coinbase, if you type in the ticker OP, you know, it comes up with Optimism. So I think they know that a token is on the way. And I think it definitely makes sense to start bridging to Optimism and start using the chain. Not that you'll probably get an airdrop now, but a lot more activity will start happening on Optimism. So go ahead and try that out. And for the rest of this video, we're probably just going to cover Optimism news because there's so much just happening. And so Optimism put out this post here. So they're improving the bridging experience, you know, on and off of Optimism. So they refactored the whole bridge code base and designed a new UI. So it's cheaper and faster and easier to move assets between Optimism, Layer 1 Ethereum, other L2s, and centralized exchanges. So they aggregated third-party bridges into one slick UI. And you can also use fiat on-ramps, which is cool as well. So this is what it will look like. You just get one simple UI here, and then you can choose where you want to bridge from. So like Polygon, BSC, Arbitrum, Gnosis, and then lots of different centralized exchanges, as well as a fiat on-ramp. Now, it hasn't, you know, integrated every single chain out there. I still think Live Finance is, like, you know, a really good place to bridge onto Optimism because they integrate basically every other bridge because they're a bridge aggregator. But it's nice to see that they've made it easier if you just want to use you know, a bridge that comes from the Optimism website itself. I know a lot of people may be a little bit more fearful of using a third-party bridge, but this should just make the experience a lot better. And now we have a couple protocols announcing their launch on Optimism. So QiDAO has launched on Optimism as well. Pegasus Finance is now live on mainnet on Optimism. So if you're not familiar with Pegasus Finance, effectively it just allows you to trade Aave USDC borrow APYs as well as Squeef funding rates. So that's squared ETH. And this is really cool. So this is just more and more derivatives that you can trade if you want to. I think, you know, for the retail person, this might not be something that you're like super interested in, but for funds, this will be. And so I can see a lot of funds actually using this, but they are going to be rewarding trading. So if I just click on this, so trading platform usage will be rewarded in SL Pega. Once you hit 120 SL Pega, you can redeem a PegaPal NFT, and those have recently sold for upwards of 2 ETH. So that's, I don't know, like $6,000. And then you can stake that NFT and then start receiving staking rewards denominated in Pega. And so if you just want to go ahead and try this out, you can get rewarded for doing so. And this is how it will look. And so you're trading the Aave borrow rate, which is a funny thing to trade, but yeah, it's interesting. And now the next piece of news comes from Synapse. They have launched a new stablecoin pool for their users so people can bridge USDC in and out of Optimism. And so you can LP in these pools to earn SYN tokens. And just going onto the website, we can see here that you're getting about 11.88% APY on stablecoins. So if you're interested in stablecoin yield opportunities, then definitely go ahead and check out Synapse. So that was the video. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and make sure to subscribe for more videos like this one.